So for me, it was funny because I've never done any type of bodybuilding, and so for me it was a constant juggle between the scale and how I look.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember literally every week we would have this conversation, like just some of my concerns, like, oh, Albert, I haven't lost. Well, the beginning was bad because my weight was like stagnant.
The first two in January.
In January, yeah.
He was like 207, 208 for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. And what did I still tell you to do? Be patient. Remember?
Patient, yeah.
I was the guy. Be patient. Like let it rock. And sometimes it's like that. Like as you get leaner, weight loss is not going to be linear. So it's gonna stall. It's normal. It's gonna stall. But for me, I just want him to have the most food as possible, for as long as we could.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to like come out taking away all his food.
I think it was a good first prep for me, honestly. Even though I had to dig deep, it was good. But yeah, no, it was crazy. Just like every week you said, like, yeah, we're using the weigh-ins for like data, but we also want to see how you look on a week-to-week basis. And even I think for me, honestly, even till the end, like that's still something hard for you to grasp.
Yeah, and I feel like, as I mentioned before, it's always going to be different, but one thing that will stay the same is you will be hungry, you will be tired, you will be annoyed towards the end, like the last, I would say, like 5 to 8 weeks. I would say you'll definitely notice yourself feeling it more, like become more aware. But other than that, like it wasn't bad, you know. I guess as you get super lean, that's when you're like, oh, like, you know. And let's talk about zombie mode, brain farts, because that one I was experiencing a lot towards the end. Like I would talk to somebody and like legit forget what I was talking about, right? And I would just stand there like, what was I saying again? And like brain farting. Did that ever happen to you?
No.
Man, she had like it all. Maybe she should have been featured on this show.
She's been good.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, one thing I noticed, like I was brain farting like crazy, like just exhausted mentally and physically.
Yeah. For me, it was more about work. I wasn't like brain farting too much, just with friends and family. But at work, I did brain fart a couple of times. Even when I'm teaching kids or when I'm around, you know, administration or anything like that, or any type of meetings, like I would brain fart a lot. But I would kind of catch myself before anything.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, I think I would just stay quiet and not talk because I was scared to like be in one of those brain fart moments.
Yeah. So I mean, it just happened to me a lot. So the next thing we're gonna talk about, feeling cold when you're lean. So honestly, this year it wasn't as bad for me as 2 years ago. Remember 2 years ago I was like always walking around with a hoodie. This time I was fine until like working out the gym. Like once my pump wore off, then I started getting like the chills. Remember, I was like, oh man, after every rep I'll get like the chills, like while performing the movement. But it wasn't as bad as it was for me 2 years ago.
I remember I was feeling cold a lot, so I would always have to carry a hoodie with me to the gym. Or yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
It was bad. I was always cold, always.
And it's so funny because I remember he would ask me these things like, hey, do you get cold? Like all these funny things, and I would just laugh because
you never warned him?
No, but I didn't want it to like.
Yeah.
I wanted him to really experience it, and this is what I meant. Like he was very truthful and honest to me, and he was just like, hey, you know, he's like, I want to ask you some. He was asking some personal stuff, but I told him it happens. Like, for example, sex drive, like it goes down. Like he was asking me about that.
Completely down.
Yeah. Towards the end of prep, man, like I think you just dreaming of like food. Like I was like she'll call me like, babe, hey, can you bring my food, please? Like it was just more of that. But definitely, he was a lot colder than I was, for sure. All right, next thing, money and expenses. Let's go with this.
For the women's suits, it's quite expensive, and then we have to get our makeup done. Also, some girls did their hair, and then the tanning, so everything just adds up.
For me, oh man, This is a very, very expensive sport, guys. Just be prepared for that, and I'm not talking about just like forget about buying supplements. When you want to do a show, you have to buy a membership card, and you have to pay entry fee, and you're gonna get a tan, and you're gonna get paid for polygraph tests, and all of these things. And we did 2 different federations, so we had to pay twice for the NGA and the WMBF, and certain federation costs more than the other. So for example, for the NGA show, I paid for an amateur card, I paid for the polygraph test, I paid for the entry fee, and the tan, and I did the show. And when I turned pro, I had to pay for a pro card, and when you're a pro, you pay a little bit more for the entry fee. So I would say I dropped like a couple of grand easily, and that's not even including food shopping. That's not including paying a coach. That's not including supplements, right? And I kept my supplements minimal this year. I mean, all I took was like vitamins, creatine monohydrate, and protein, and I had to like, it really does add up. I mean, like a lot of little adds up to a lot. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. For me, I guess I'll just go through the list of expenses for me. The first thing would be paying for coaching fees, obviously, which is obviously something that you need to do. Food for me, it gets expensive, especially when you're trying to go for like more macro-friendly foods, when you're trying to find hacks. Like those things that you're buying are more expensive than just like regular food that you would buy if you weren't dieting. I wasn't really taking too many supplements until like the end when you started recommending a few things to me.
And it wasn't even like a lot. It was like 2 things. It was like 2 things, but those 2 things added up.
Yeah.
You know.
And the struggle for me was the doing the NGA show. Remember when I was like adding everything up? I'm like, man, did I have to do it?
This guy's like, yo, you for real? Like,
I did not expect those prices at all.
Yeah, it was tough. But again, you heard of that saying, you gotta pay to play. You know.
Yeah.
That's you don't want to prep and then over $20 not do a show. You know.
It ended up being beneficial for me anyway, doing that warm-up show.
Yeah. He wasn't really thinking about doing it, but I wanted to kind of like get that stage fear out of his system. Like, so basically, like if you make any mistakes, we can correct it. We know what to expect from him, and it gives you a better idea of what you need to do to kind of tighten up for the next show. So I always recommend doing a warm-up show. I know some people look down on it. Some people is like, just do it when you're ready. But practice makes better. I mean, look at the pro basketball players. They don't just walk into the gym and start shooting basketballs on game night, right? They practice day in and day out and shoot around before the game start. They don't just like legit like put on the jersey, lace up their sneakers, and let's go to the NBA Finals game 1. Like, so practice makes better.
That's another thing. Posing seminars.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh
another
yeah. And this year I went to like 2 or 3. I went to a few, and it added up, right? I forgot about that, but it really did add it up. But it was beneficial because it really helped us so much with the presentation, and in bodybuilding, it's really important. Presentation is super, super important. All right. So now that we talked about things that happen in prep, how fast did prep go? Because I prepped for like half a year pretty much, and it flew by for me both times.
It was 9 months for me.
Oh man, 9 6 for me, but I would say it went by
fast.
Yeah, and it went by fast for me. Like, look, I've been like 8 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks post show already. Just like that, it was like an afterthought. What about you?
Yeah, no, I would say 6 months for me. Like the last week of December we started.
Yeah.
Dude, it was in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, like while we were doing it, we're like, I can't wait till it's over. But when it's over, you look back at pictures, you're like, oh wow, it was
yeah.
That's like anything in life. Like when it's hard, while you're doing it, you're like, dang, I can't wait it's over. But when it's over, you're like, it was a good challenge. It was.
And then you're like, after that, like, oh, what am I working out for?
Oh yeah. So we're gonna talk about that right now. That's called the post-show blues. Post-show blues meaning that because for 6 months, for 9 months, for half a year, we were very goal-oriented. There was like a target date, a target look. There was a reason to diet. But after a while, you're like, it goes to, why am I dieting?
Yeah.
What am I gonna diet for? People get depressed, like they get sad because all that dieting is over, all that grinding is over, pretty much.
Yeah, and then you look back on pictures, you're like, oh, I wish I still had shreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I actually had to still count because then our wedding was
Yeah,
in
right
2 months.
after. So it was kind of beneficial. She hit 2 birds with 1 stone. So it kept her accountable for the wedding. And you know, for me, I wasn't sad because I've done it before, but it's been, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a hard transitioning for me because you know, there's always that recommended period of reverse dieting out of a show or binging, and I didn't binge after my first show or the Hercules, but after my last and final show, like, I was binge eating for like a month, and it's hard for me to track because I'm very goal oriented. So you'll never see me throughout the year maintaining. Like, you're gonna see me either bulking or I'm cutting. You'll never see me just a year straight just eating enough maintenance caloric intake to maintain, because that's my preference. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in just eating. I don't believe in maintaining. It's just boring for me. Like, there's no challenge for me. So, like, it's either I'm really trying to lose weight or I'm trying to gain weight. Either way. And for me, I always tell Maggie, like, I didn't want to track because what's the point of tracking? One thing for me was that I already binge ate and my body changed already. I already got bloated. I already lost the shreds. And, you know, I know she wanted to diet a little bit to lean out for our vacation, but we had so many festivities in between, like dinners with family and friends. It was so inconsistent, the dieting. So it was like, all right, so I'll diet for Monday and Tuesday, but then Friday, Wednesday, and Sunday, I'm not dieting. And so it was like, it wasn't even consistent enough to really make a difference. So then so you start questioning yourself. You're like, do I diet inconsistently and look the same how I look now? Or do I just enjoy summertime, hang out with friends and family, eating, just living life, catching with people that I had to, like, you know, I didn't get a chance to talk to during prep, and still look the same. So you weigh your pros and cons, and you make a choice. Everybody's reasons for different. This is not to really say which one is better, which one is not. This is just for me. That's what works for me. And for you, what do you think?
I don't think I got any of the post
show blues. This guy was happy it was over.
Yeah, I was happy.
She was like,
I love food way too much.
Yeah.
No, but initially, I remember us talking, you and I kept telling you, like, I want to make sure that, you know, when I go back to eating normal again, we, like, slowly, because I want to maintain my shreds and stuff. But then you sort of, like, spoke to me about it, and so we went more with, like, the recovery diet approach, where we bumped up my calories as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And I think the difference for me is, like, I wanted to make sure that my metabolism is at a healthier place, but I also know personally, I don't want to sound like too confident, but I know I have a potential to grow, and so I don't have those immediate goals that you talk about, like week in and week out weigh-ins, an image, but I have a goal in mind for 2-3 years from now. Yeah. So that's why I don't have those post-show blues, because that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah. And that really helped me a lot too 2 years ago, because when I got off stage in 2016, I knew I was coming back on in 2018. I knew I was. So every day counted for me from 2016 to 2018. However, I'm really taking that extensive time off now. Like, I'm talking about like 5 years, and I'm just gonna have to live through it through Alex and my other clients, or my friends and teammates when they do their shows. And listen, I have no problem taking the back seat, because seeing them up there and being able to cheer for them, it's a great feeling. And it, you know, when you coach somebody, you're seriously part of them. Whatever they go through, you go through too. You know, and so Alex, we reversed, and then he went away for a week in Texas, and he ate, and he was like, you know, I gained weight, but he wasn't freaking out. He was just like, I'm gonna get back on track. And as you can see, this is the pros and cons. In the beginning, I started coming out eating a lot of higher. I was just binge eating, and my body was blowing up. I got bigger. The pros was like, I got stronger, felt better, and he was still hungry, even though we were reversing him up. Even though his calories were bumped up, cardio was cut, he was still hungry, right?
My appetite was, as we were reversing, my appetite was increasing.
Yeah. So now we're like, I would say 5-6 weeks out. His macros are actually a little bit higher than mine, because I'm at like 350 when I do track, and you're like 360.
360, yeah.
And his appetite is probably better than mine, because I'm starting to. I was just telling Maggie today, like, I'm not getting as hungry anymore. Like I'm easily satiated, and I'm not even talking about eating a big meal. I'm talking about like eating a bag of chips and I'm like full. Like I don't want to. I have to like start. So my goal now is, as you can see though, I look more softer. Like I'm bulkier, but the quality is softer. Like I'm definitely not as hard as Alex. Like he's more denser. He's leaner. Like definitely. Like but pros and cons. There's no right or wrong way. It's preference. To me, I love food. But I have to do a mini cut after the summer because just not to like get shredded, but to kind of reset my metabolism and also have more consistent data so I can start tracking again and kind of fix my appetite because I'm actually not hungry anymore. Because when you diet, you start craving for more food. But because I've been just eating everything for like the past month, and we just came back from vacation and no the cravings, nothing. And for him, he don't have to do that because he did it the right way. So because he took his time, he didn't get to eat everything he wants in the beginning. He don't have to mini cut, and he can continue just keep pushing. And for me, I got to eat everything in the beginning, but I have to stop, cut for a little bit, and then start from the bottom again. So there's always that pros and cons. So life is very fair, guys. It's never one way wins it all. All right, let's talk about the mindset of being lean after the show. Like, because in social media today, it really portrays a healthy person having to have a very low, lean, aesthetic look, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we all hold that pressure on ourselves as well, I would say.
Yeah.
Right?
I did that a lot. I still wanted my abs, but like eventually,
Yeah.
we started going out to eat, we started enjoying ourselves, eventually it's all gone. And then, I mean, I do get sad at times, like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I still look like that, but it's just not healthy to maintain that weight that I was during my
contest prep.
Yeah.
Because like I was weighing at like 150s, and if I wasn't competing, the last time I was 150 was when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm. And I was 100 pounds, 99 to 100 pounds.
That's
too. Like junior high school,
Yeah.
high school weight.
Yeah, and it's very not. It's hard to sustain, and it's just not healthy mentally, emotionally. Like you still want to eat. Your hormone levels are down. You gotta really take consideration of everything. And for me, I've always felt like that. I think that's what made me easier for me to binge and eat, because I felt like with a shirt on, I still look like I lift. I look more normal now, but and I always tell people I'm trying to get back into feeling normal again. Like normal as in like not looking crazy, striated at the gym. I remember when like towards the end, like just during warm-ups, like after you get that pump, like I was telling Megan today when I wore this like during prep, I was like full and square. Now I'm like round and everything. But it's okay. I mean, like again, I have to get used to this because I'm taking that 5 years off, so I'm not gonna be super diced every year. So I wanna love my off-season body as much as I love my contest prep body, and I want you guys to really appreciate your body. Appreciate your journey, because your journey is gonna be different from ours. Appreciate each step of the way, right?
Yeah.
What about you, man?
For me, I mean, I've always been a bigger guy. Right?
Yeah.
I was always above 200 pounds.
And I've known this kid since we were little kids, man. So, like legit little kids.
I was 7.
Yeah,
when I met you.
I think I was like 12, like 13.
How many years old?
I don't know, man.
You're like 3 years older than me, right? I'm 28.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Yeah, so you were probably like 10, 11.
Yeah, 10, 11. Oh man. Yeah.
So I've always been first of all, I've always been a chubby guy. I've done a few different types of diets, and I did a lot of cardio, running, sprinting and stuff.
I'll never forget. If I could find that clip for you, I remember one day he was always a big guy, and then one day I was on Instagram. I'm like, who's this fit guy running in dumbbell? I mean, all you heard was this running on that steep, that slope in dumbbell, and I'm like, who is that?
But the funny thing is that those things didn't ever get me as lean as I did get now. So it is difficult for me because this was the first time I've ever had abs, like true abs. Like I had a little bit last year when I went to Europe, but even then that still wasn't even nowhere near the conditioning that I was now. But it's a big but. Like I did love the abs, but the way I felt, like the being sleepy, hungry, you remember me telling you like starting in May I couldn't even, like my breathing was bad.
Yeah.
So I would take where I'm at right now over like abs
Yeah.
at any moment. Yeah.
And listen, when he told me about those problems, I really took in mind about that. Remember, I wanted you to slow down,
Yeah.
cut out cardio, get some rest, pump food up. And some coaches would be like, you know, I've heard coaches saying like, yo, I'm hungry at night, go do cardio. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Keep your mind. I'm like, that's the worst tip. And that's like saying like, coach, my foot hurts, I can't run.
Yeah.
Like just run even more. Like just mind over matter. Like no, it's not mind over matter.
You always worry about my health.
Yeah,
before
like,
anything
yeah,
else.
100%. Like at the end of the day, this is just it's not our life, you know. And that's what I told you. And he was like, no, I don't want to let you down. I'm like, listen, you're not letting me down. I was like, your health is way more important than seeing you sick over this, you know.
I ended up slowing down a little bit
Yeah.
with the cardio.
Yeah.
Because I was doing like hour cardio sessions every day.
Yeah.
And I was doing
Yeah.
morning brisk walks.
Yeah.
I even started adding my own night walks when I was walking with my dog.
Yeah. And it's funny now, his dog is expecting those long walks now, and he does get. It's like you get one tree,
One tree,
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah, one
maybe
tree.
two. I'm feeling
Choose that one good tree. You're lucky, Vinny. Vinny's still getting that nice long walk from me. But here's the next topic. Could you guys do this year after year?
No.
I would say no. Not because, I mean, I can compete year after year, but to me, I feel like if I want to come in better year after year, I would need. I saw the huge difference I looked this year compared to 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and I took a year and a half off really.
A lot denser.
Denser, more fuller, yeah, just more, and imagine me taking a longer, extensive time, and I think for me, I just need that longer break, not physically, but more mentally. Like I don't want to go through that. Imagine yourself dieting for half a year, to that extent every year. Like it'll be tiring. Like you'll never be able to recover. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
For me, it's two things. I personally don't believe that you will receive any growth or proper growth if you're doing it year after year.
Mhm.
The other thing is you make a lot of sacrifices when you're on prep.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
I know a lot of people say, well, you know, when you start flexible dieting, you know, you can do a lot of things. No.
Yeah. Well, you can in the
can
beginning
in
of
the
prep,
beginning.
but when you have very low macros to play with, there's not much flexibility you can do. It's like, here's 40 grams of fat. It's either you're gonna eat a whole egg or a scoop of peanut butter. like pick your poison. And there's not like, oh, I'm gonna go out of like, you know, that's the thing, and that's the real reality of prep. Like in the beginning, you're like, oh, you know, I was like eating M&M's, but towards the end, I was like, I traded that one serving of M&M's for like a pound of lettuce and a pound of cucumbers, and it saved my life. And it still wasn't enough. Remember, I was like, I'm still hungry, I'm starving, and so
I think we're very similar in the sense that we would both rather take the time to grow and simultaneously like enjoy life.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think I always mentioned to you guys, like, I love, like today we're gonna work out and we're gonna have a post-workout meal, and we're not gonna track, we're just gonna have a square meal and hang out, and we're going out. Like, it's just, you need that, you know. It's you need to be human, you know. It's good to be in prep, but you don't want to live like that. I mean, we're only like, I'm 30, 31, late 20s. It's like, we still got a long time to go in life.
Yeah.
I can't be eating like that every year. Definitely not. But how proud and rewarding was it, guys, doing the show?
You want to go first, maybe?
Honestly, I didn't think I would ever step on stage. I'm more of the, you know, shy, quiet type. And I thought stepping on stage I would be so nervous, but I think all that, like, posing seminar, just practicing with Albert, telling me how to pose, that helped a lot. And yeah, stepping on stage, all the nerves just went away.
Yeah, for me, I would do it. Well, I love this. So, I've always wanted to compete ever since I was like 18. However, I didn't know anything about natural bodybuilding. I only knew about IFBB and NPC, and I did not want to compete in those federations. I have no desire on how to get on gear. I'm not knocking on anybody, but that's just not me. Like, some people, they want to do this as a career, but for me, this is, at the end of the day, it's a hobby for me. Like, you know, there are other things that's way more important than bodybuilding.
For me, this was honestly one of the most rewarding things I've done in my life, because this is something that I and I'm able to control week in and week out, and you can see the results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also, through you initially, watching you compete 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And then now, like, I honestly have and I'm pretty sure you can see that I have a love for the sport now.
Yeah. I could feel it because his approach to off season is completely different now. It's not the same. I'm afraid to eat. Now he's looking long-term goals. Now he's not, when he's training now, it's not for next summer, it's not for this summer, it's for the next time he step on stage. So like he's not gonna, his eyes is on the competition stage. It's not, well, I want to look lean for the summer. I want to make sure I still look diced up for the summer. No, his goals, like, he has bigger goals,
Yeah.
And I think when you have goals like that, it's great, but it can also be stressful too.
Yeah.
So I'm, as a coach, as a friend, I'm just gonna have to really remind him of, I understand you have goals, but sometimes it's okay to enjoy life a little bit and take a step back, and you want to live through every moment, not just go through the moment and not know what happened. So that's one thing I would say. And basically, this is it. This is our experience with contest prep and how we approach it, what we're gonna, if we would ever compete again, and what to expect the next time around. Alex is gonna probably take about what, 2 full years off. 2 full years off. I'm taking like 4 full years. I honestly don't want to step on until I make the improvements that I feel like I need. And I'm not talking about conditioning. I'm talking about like muscle density and maturity. What about you, baby?
Step on with you.
That'd be awesome if all 3 of us could step on one day. Oh man,
That'd be cool.
That would be a great experience.
The Shaw family together.
Yeah.
And I think I might do 2 years and then take another 2-3 years off and go back with you guys.
Yeah, and I just think it's super awesome.
It's in a little way.
Yeah. No, but the message that we're trying to tell you guys is to really enjoy the process, and there's gonna be ups and downs, all the time. So like I just mentioned before, his long-term goals, it's good to have that, but it will come with challenges and stressful times as well. Just really love yourself, love your body, love every progress you make. Be proud of it. It's hard work,
It's great to have a good support system too.
Oh yeah,
someone
100%.
to talk to.
Yeah, 100%.
That's going through the same thing.
Yep. Just really, and if you guys need help, ask for help. Don't, life is full of learning experiences and you're constantly learning. So there are things like, look, he just learned today how to make protein oatmeal better. I don't know why he's making it that way.
I've been making it that way for the
I don't know,
3-4
man.
months.
But what I'm trying to say is just really enjoy the process of enjoy every progress that you make, and it's super important. Don't just focus on. I think some people get very stressed out because
I remember I always wanted to. It was April.
She wanted to be there already. She didn't even care about the.
No. During April, I was like 1 month away from competition.
Yeah.
I was at work. I was stressing, and then I wanted to cry, so I called Albert right away. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore." He was like, "If you really don't want to, just don't do it." And I was like, "All right." Well, kept talking, and then I was like, "Let me just go to the gym today and see how I feel." And then that really helped me, just venting to Albert, because I never really talked about it with him.
Yeah.
About how I was feeling, how I was stressing.
Because she knows there's no quitter in the outfit. I was thinking about bringing back. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But
ever since that day, I worked towards it.
Yeah, and it's important because remember the Hercules? I was talking to you 2 years ago. Everybody wanted me to do the Hercules, but I knew deep down my body changed, and I wasn't coming in with the same package that I was bringing, and that was very stressful because doing well in your first 2 shows, people was expecting you to be better always. It's like any sport in life. Like once you do well in something, they expect you to come back better and better within time.
Yeah, I was telling him if you're not ready for this, don't do it just because everyone else wants you to do it.
Yeah, and I took it and I pulled out, and listen, I was super happy, never depressed. We went out for what? Kettle Black, ate sushi buffets afterward. McDonald's. Life was great. I mean, it was great. But yeah. So that's it. If you guys really have any other questions or messages or comments, please just put in the comment box below, or send me an email, or message us on Instagram, right? And I'll put his handle and my handle on. looking forward to doing more of these series with you guys. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Let's give him a bicep shot. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.